Hey, Anthony Simonie here, and in this video, I am going to start a series in which I'm going to share with you some really, I'll just call them stealth ways to do some competitor research that will allow you to figure out what your competitors are doing, and more specifically, the top competitors in your market, what they're doing that is working and what may not be working, so that you can emulate the things that are working and really cut down on the time that it will take to figure out how to be more efficient with your lead and client generation, but also save you a ton of time and money in the process. So today I'm going to begin with how to identify your ideal client. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'd say about 80% of businesses don't really know who that is. So they don't know who their ideal target audience is or who the perfect client is that they'd love to work with. And I know this because I've worked with thousands of businesses, and about 80% of them have never taken the time to figure this out. And I can tell you that, number one, again, it's going to save you a lot of time. Secondly, it's going to save you a lot of money, especially if you are paying for any type of advertising. And then thirdly, it's going to allow you to smile and be happy in your business. Because listen, if you're going to be in business, you might as well be smiling and be happy, right? And in order to do that, you need to work with more of the people who bring you joy. So we're going to talk about that as well. So here's basically the background of what this is. Over the next few days, I'm going to release a new portion of this training I did a while back for the in-home care industry. And so when you hear me talk about in-home care or aging care, just simply interchange that with your profession or your service. So if you're a real estate agent or an insurance agent or a financial advisor and so on and so forth, you're just going to interchange that with what I'm using as an example in this particular training. And so this training is going to allow you to, first of all, get a background for what you're going to be able to do. It's going to allow you to figure out who your ideal perfect client is, and then only attract those types into your business. And then we're going to get into some other video training that's going to allow you to ethically spy on your competitors to figure out what they're doing and allow you to emulate some of the things they're doing into your business so that you can shortcut your way to success with that. And by the way, I'm also going to show you a little bit later on, or explain to you how you can get downloadable links to all of this training so that you can go back and review it over and over again. So stick around for that. And other than that, I will look forward to seeing you back here shortly. Let's go ahead and roll that video now.
Hey there, this is Anthony Simonie, and welcome back to this video where we're going to be talking about the importance of targeting, and more importantly, how to target the ideal prospect and customer that is going to be the most profitable in your business. So when we talk about defining your target market, it's really important, because if you don't follow this process and you don't find out and discover who your ideal target is, you're going to waste a lot of time creating something that will not appeal to what your market really wants. And so you may have already experienced this. Sometimes it's difficult. In fact, most times it's difficult for businesses who are unfamiliar with this process to be able to create a message that will resonate with their ideal client or prospect. So you need to ask yourself first, what does your market want? And then how can you match your products or services as closely as possible to what they want? Now, if you don't do this, again, it's going to be a big waste of time and money, because you're not matching your message to your market. And so they're not going to be responsive, at least not in the way that you'd like. The one-size-fits-all approach is dangerous, and that is what really a lot of bigger companies follow, because they oftentimes have different objectives than you as a small business owner, like we talked about before, and you're trying to operate on a budget, whereas a lot of times they have unlimited funding. So they use what we call an umbrella approach, so kind of a one size fits all, and it's done for different reasons, and for reasons that are okay with them but probably not okay with you, because I'm sure if you're like myself and a lot of other small business owners, you want to see exactly what your money is bringing you and what your marketing is doing down to the penny. And so that's very important when it comes to creating your message and also making sure that that message resonates with your target market. So in other words, if you don't do this, there is oftentimes a whole bunch of waste. So for example, let's say that you want to send a direct mail piece to an entire zip code in your area versus selecting a tighter market. And so what that means is just selecting a market that is more closely aligned to what your target audience is. And so you can go out and you can send a direct mail piece to an entire zip code, or you can contact the mailing company and say, listen, here's what I want to select as the people who I want to send my direct mail piece to. And you can do that with a number of selects. So again, what's going to be more effective? If you just send a postcard to an entire zip code, or if you send a postcard to only people in that zip code that meet a certain criteria. So if you're in assisted living, if you're in home care or home health, or really any business that wants to get the most bang for your buck with direct mail, and really any type of marketing for that matter, but in this example, direct mail, then you want to make sure you're using as many selects as possible for that area that you're targeting. And those selects have to be aligned to who your ideal target market is, so your ideal prospect or customer.
All right, so I hope you're enjoying the training so far, and we're going to get back to it here shortly, but I wanted to take a quick moment for those of you who have to leave for an appointment, or maybe you've got to take the kids or grandkids somewhere, or you've got to hop on another call, and you really want to find out how to get access to the rest of this training for competitive research. I want to give you an opportunity to do that. So here's the backstory on this. I love working with action takers. I believe action takers and no action takers actually are the ones that get the best results. And so if you are an action taker and you are interested in getting access to all of this training where you could download it and watch it over and over again and again, I want to give you an opportunity to do that. Now, I will be releasing some of these videos over the coming days. So if you want all of them all at one time and you don't want to wait, here's how you do that. I want you to look on the page here. There should be a button or a link below the video or somewhere on the page here, depending on where you're watching it, to be able to book a business brainstorming call with us. And what we're going to do on that call is we're going to talk about where you are now, where you want to go, and then we're going to actually lay out a game plan on how you can get there and how to do so by generating organic leads and clients. So in other words, leads and clients that aren't going to cost you anything. So here we're talking about how you can use some of this in your paid advertising efforts, whether you're doing it now or you're planning on doing that here in the near future. There's nothing wrong with paid advertising. It works extremely well if you do it correctly. But we're going to talk about how you can generate those perfect clients into your business and only work with them using organic strategies. So if that is you, you want the access to all these videos now, here's what you have to do. Click that button, book the brainstorming session with us, and what we're going to do is send you access to the rest of these training videos, and you won't have to wait. And again, this is because I love working with action takers, and we're going to do a lot of heavy lifting on that call. And just to be completely transparent, yes, occasionally we do pick up clients from these calls, but it is not the sole purpose of the call. itself, we receive a lot of referrals, and a lot of people come to us based off of our track record. So we don't have to operate that way on our calls. But occasionally we will pick up a client or two, but that's not the sole purpose of the call. You come to the call, it's going to be extremely valuable for you. In fact, most businesses that we talk to, they tell us that it's the best time that they've ever invested working on their business. So hit that link on the page somewhere here, book the call. And one other thing, there's one other qualification to get access to these, and that is to simply click the like button below this video. If you're watching this on YouTube or on our main page or on Facebook, click the like button and also leave a comment. The comment could be very simple, like, yes, I love what I'm learning, or no, I don't like it, or just say something to let us know that you are alive and kicking, and that will qualify you. Okay, so click the like button, leave a comment, and then also book your business brainstorming session with us using that link, and we'll get you taken care of. And I'm going to go ahead and get back into the training here, and I'll see you at the end in just a little bit.
And so, for example, you could say everybody in that zip code who is between the ages of 47 and 54, who are female, who have a couple of kids, and is married, maybe they have a professional career, and maybe they subscribe to Family Caregiver magazine, which you'll see I've provided that example here later on a later slide. But these are all more powerful in targeting the direct ideal prospecting customer that you're looking for. And so your criteria might be a little bit different. You may already know what yours is, but you can see in this example that having the selects, if they're available, is way more powerful, will save you money on your campaign and yield you better results as well. So what you need to do is create your customer avatar. So in other words, who is your ideal customer? So in order to do this, you need to ask the following questions. You need to ask what your market's biggest problem is that keeps them up at night. What is their age range? What is their income? Do they have children? Are they married? What magazines do they subscribe to? All of this data is available to you in today's market. Literally, as you probably know, privacy is just kind of a thing of the past. So it's bad, but it's also good for those who want to be able to market more effectively. It's never been easier in the history of business to locate and communicate with your ideal target audience, also at a fraction of what it would have cost 10, 20 years ago. So what magazines do they subscribe to? Again, that's a big one. If they subscribe to a magazine, that probably means they're really interested. So if there's something related to your niche or your business, then that's a powerful way to find other media that you can use to advertise. So we'll talk about a little bit more about that here in a minute. But targeting in this way allows you to market to and do business with those who you really can help. So you want to create a profile for your ideal customer. So what's a name for them? What's the age? Again, do they have kids? What are their likes and dislikes, their problems? What keeps them up at night? Do they have a career? So for example, an example customer avatar could be Sally, is 47 years old. She's married. She's a mother of two with a full-time job who owns a home, who subscribes to Family Caregiver magazine. Now you can create whichever one that matches your ideal customer, but it helps if you give them a name. In fact, if you give them a face with that name. So you can actually type what I've just read to you here into the into a search box on the the internet or into Google, and see what picture pops up, and you can use that picture along with your avatar. So you're putting a face with a description. It's way more powerful than what you might think, okay? And most businesses fail to do this. It causes them to spend more time and money on marketing to find their ideal customers. Now, because they copy what everyone else is doing, they become just another service provider. So you heard me talk about things becoming commoditized. And so they end up fighting the who is cheaper battle. And that's not a battle that you want to fight. You're just going to become somebody that gets lost in all the noise because everybody's trying to scream higher than the next person to get the attention of the customer. So you have to stand apart from them. And you can do this, okay? Trust me, you can do this if you follow all of the training that we're talking about in the strategies and steps in this training, okay? So you don't want to find yourself in that battle. Now, if you do the opposite of this, you will be much happier because you can set yourself apart, like I said, from all the noise. You'll make more money and you will experience a greater level of happiness because you won't be fighting that battle and also dealing with customers who probably don't like you and you probably don't like them, okay? Usually, like I said earlier, sometimes with the push-based marketing, you can get people to sign up or to buy your product or service, but a lot of times, if you're not targeting the right customer, then it doesn't do you a whole lot of good, okay? It becomes more of a headache than really what you signed up for getting into your own business in the first place, okay? You didn't sign up to deal with a lot of people you don't like. And so that's a very important concept to think about. So again, in other words, they may not like you and you may not like them. So it's a losing proposition. So let's talk a little bit about demographics, psychographics, and the deepest desires of your target audience. So using demographics, okay, things like age, gender, income, family size, where they live, their ethnicity, their level of education. For example, one of the larger home care franchises targets women between the ages of 47 and 54. That is probably a good demographic for you to look at when it comes to marketing your home care business, and probably a good market for any business in the aging care market. And this is something you can use when you're doing your research. So we talk about being careful to copy the marketing and advertising that the bigger players use, but sometimes the bigger players can show you, or you can see different things in their marketing and advertising that you can use to your advantage. So you don't have to copy them exactly, but you can use some of the stuff that they use in your strategy to be able to craft a really good message and a great marketing campaign. So, and we'll talk about how you can find that out here as well, so don't worry about that. I'll show you some specific tools and strategies that you can use to actually find out a lot of this information, okay? Okay, so psychographics. And by the way, you can actually do pretty well by using demographics alone, especially because in our industry, the aging care industry, the markets are growing so quickly and so big, and they're going to grow for many, many years to come. A lot of times you can do really well by just using the demographics alone. But if you also integrate psychographics, you can do better because you're kind of tightening down and becoming more laser focused on your ideal prospecting customer. So things that are included in psychographics are values, their hobbies, their interests, their attitude, personality, lifestyle, their religion or political views. All of these are examples of psychographics. And again, these are things that you can find or search for and select through different list brokers, different websites and media that you'll be advertising on. It is so powerful. So the next thing would be deepest desires. Now, if you use all three of these things, demographics, psychographics, and their deepest desires, this is where you get the best results. Now, it's not always going to be available, all three of them, that is. But the closer you can get to it, the better off you are. So, deepest desires, what keeps them up at night? What are their worries, their fears? What is their single biggest problem that you can solve? What do they secretly desire the most? So using all of this data helps us to enter the conversation that is already going on in the prospect or customer's head. And that's where you want to be. You want to enter the conversation that's already going on in their head, because that will grab their attention. That will allow them to open up to you, to let down their guard. And the other thing that's important is that people buy for different reasons. And so this information will help you to create marketing campaigns that most closely matches the target that you're going after. So, you have the same service that you're offering, but your marketing may need to speak a little bit differently to one set of targets than it does to another set. And that goes into the whole knowing all this information, what the demographics, the psychographics, their deepest desires. So think about that, and think about what your market really wants. What keeps them up at night? What are their worries? What are their fears? What is the biggest problem that you can solve that they're experiencing? If you speak to those things, I can tell you that it is incredibly powerful. So, and again, we'll talk more about that in the tactical part of this. So for example, some people want to free up more time from doing the actual caregiving for a loved one. Okay, you've probably seen that already. If not, you will. It's a common problem. And then another one would be some maybe trying to save their job and need help caring for a loved one. There was a study done by MetLife, and the productivity of employees across the nation, and the lack of productivity, I should say the loss in productivity, is staggering. I mean, it's like in the billions of dollars, I believe, if I remember the study right. But this is a problem. So the story behind that study is basically you've got people that are stuck in what they call the sandwich generation. Okay, you've probably heard of that. They're trying to care for a loved one, but also take care of their family and their career all at the same time. And it's a huge challenge. It's causing them to take more time off of work. And so the companies and industries across the nation, they're suffering productivity loss. And obviously that has an even greater ripple effect on many other areas in the nation. So it's a big problem. So speaking to that problem is a way to market in a fashion that will grab their attention. So some may live separately from a loved one who needs care, and they're worried about their safety. So you can use that in your marketing, how to make their homes more safe. And so again, we'll talk a little bit more about that here a later video. But another one would be some people are aging and tired of caring for a home, so they want a maintenance-free lifestyle. So those in assisted living, that's a common problem. And again, there's so many different ways that you can approach this, but these are just examples of ways that you can start to get the juices flowing in your brain. But the point is, this data helps you construct an appropriate message for your target market. Now, the other thing you want to do is write this out. Most businesses won't write it out because it's mundane, they don't think it's important, but it can have an incredibly positive impact in your business. I can tell you, I have lots of experience in the business world in working with clients, and I can tell you that the ones that will take the extra time to do this, those are the ones that you see standing at the end of it all. There's businesses that go by the wayside and they go out of business every day. Each day, thousands of businesses shut their doors. I mean, that's just the reality. And it is a sad reality, because I know that had they been exposed to certain things, or maybe they've been exposed to them, but they just decided not to implement them, they could have survived. They could have had a nice, profitable, comfortable business that gives them the lifestyle that they ultimately wanted when they started the business. So don't let that be you, okay? Write it down. If you have a customer list already, you're sitting on a gold mine, because you can take your data and run it through a data company and get a detailed profile of who your best customers are. Then you could use this to target only those types of people in all the media that you'll advertise on. Or you can offer them other products and services based on the profile that you get, and make additional revenue doing so. But again, we'll talk about that in a later video. But just know that if you have a list of customers, you can segment your best customers, run them through a data company to get a profile on them, and then use that data to go out and market to only those types of people. Do you see how incredibly powerful this is? It is amazing. So think about that for a minute and get excited, because that's a huge advantage. And if you're new in the business, obviously as you start to accumulate customers, you'll be able to get this data as well from them as you grow. So you can also survey your customers too, to find out the different things that you can use to market extra products to them, or services, or to just find out the different things that will help you in future marketing. So how do you know if a market is big enough? Well, you want to research your local demographics for population size, and do this for your ideal customer. So use the demographics and psychographics and things like that, all that you can anyway, to find out what the size of the population is in that area, or the zip code that you'll provide services or currently provide services in, and find out if they're large in number. Question one is, are they large in number? Are they easily reached? Well, again, you've probably heard me say, with the advent of the internet and the evolution of the internet, we literally, it's never been easier to reach your ideal prospect and customer than it has ever before, at a much lower cost. So if you can answer yes to both of these, then you have a winner. If not, you may need to expand your reach a little bit. So extend your coverage area, and that should help you. Now, the good news is that the aging care market is growing by leaps and bounds. So your ideal customers they're becoming more and more by the day. So that is a huge factor in this. And so because of that, you can tend to get away with a little bit of let's say you don't have all the demographics or the psychographics for selects when you go to get a list, or to advertise on a certain website, or whatever media that you're using to run your ads and marketing. Well, you'll probably get away with that more so in this market, because it's just growing so fast. So here's a little known secret. If you use the data that we're talking about here to help you laser target your ideal customer, you can actually get away with a less than great message. So this happens all the time. If you have the right target and the message is somewhat right, you'll do just fine. So in other words, let's say that you're having trouble coming up with a perfect message. Well, that's okay if you have the other stuff right. So if you have the more information you have about your ideal customer, you can get away with some of this. Okay? So now you know your market. What do you do now? Well, you need to start creating a variety of lead generation magnets and landing pages in preparation of running some traffic to it. And again, this is one of those things we'll cover in a future tactical video in much more detail. Now, once you have a target selected, a relevant lead magnet and landing page that is of interest to them, you can then start a lead generation ad and run traffic from different media. So for example, you'll be able to purchase lists, run Facebook ads, banner advertising through Google, or many other websites and platforms where your ideal target may be hanging out. All can be used to target using your ideal customer profile. Okay? So there's plenty of traffic out there to be had, even in your local area. Now remember, we can find out many other media platforms that may be a good place for your ads by knowing what your market's interests, hobbies are, etc. And once you understand this, again, as you probably figured out, you'll have an enormous... Now, all of this information will help you create solid marketing campaigns that will appeal to the interest of your target market and allow you the best chance.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that first video. I've got more to come, so if you receive notification for that video, make sure to get over here and take advantage of it and watch it. If you're an action taker, and again, for the first 7 that book a business brainstorming session today, and these are timed, so this will happen again on the next video as well. But for the first 7 today, we're going to do a free business brainstorming call with the first 7 who book today, and we're also going to give you access to the rest of this competitive research training so that you, number one, can get access to the entire thing, but secondly, if you're not wanting to wait for the portion of the training that we are going to share over the next few days, then book that call, and we'll make sure that you get access to the entire training. Other than that, make sure to click the like button below, post a comment. Again, that could be whether you like the training or you're excited about implementing it, or you don't like it. Just say something to let us know that you're alive and kicking. And if you do that, you like the, you click the like button below, you leave a comment. Again, even if you don't like it, let us know. But click the like button, because that will qualify you for the rest of this competitive research training. And then make sure to book your business brainstorming session with us. And again, this is not a it's not a sales pitch kind of call. It is how we give back, and how we also pick up a client or two here and there along the way. But it is it's one of those opportunities to work on your business rather than in it, to actually make significant progress in your business growth. So again, Anthony Simonie here, and hope you enjoyed the training. I look forward to seeing you here again soon on the web. Take care.